how's it going, man?
It's going well. Fantastic. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Okay.
So for all of you guys here at home, we're going to be doing a monthly, I hope, meetup like this here.
Yeah.
You know, bring in lenders and other vendors, maybe one day, into this and kind of seeing how's the market, not just from my perspective, because, I mean, the realtors are cool and all, but we're one of, how many people are in the average transaction? Like 50?
Jeez, 5 or 6 people who are on file. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just the direct people.
Yeah.
Once you start including the inspectors and everyone else, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're going to get more of a take from everybody rather than just me, even though my opinion's the most important.
Different angles, yeah. You're very important, but...
Aw, thank you.
You're very important, but not, above everyone else. Let's say.
There's some realtors in this market, man, you can't say that to you. You have to be careful.
It's a team effort.
Absolutely.
It's a team effort,
So let's just get right in. How is the market?
The market, I mean, from my perspective, from a lender's perspective, the market is up in terms of rates. Rates have essentially doubled in a year's time. So we've gone from even below 3%. We're now at 7, even above 7 in some cases. So that's been interesting. That's definitely affected people's affordability. You have those high interest rates together with still high prices. It's just kind of put a lot of people out of the market for buying a home. Yeah,
I mean, I have a lot of buyers. First-time buyers are kind of one of my bigger demographics right now, because the people that seem like they got their home a while ago and are enjoying that whatever ridiculous 2 to 3% interest rate,
and all the equity they have, and
they're sitting pretty. They don't really want to move. That's going to take something. And
so people who are not moving are not buying.
Right.
So,
but the first-time buyers, want to get something because they're seeing these rates go up. And man, they're just getting hammered, because I have these people that, like, I got 3 or 4 different buyers who are doing the same thing. They're like, oh wow, the interest rate creeped up to like 5%. Maybe I should wait. And they call me like 3 months later. Okay, I'm ready. It's like, okay, well, it's 5.5. And they go, oh. And then they disappear for like 3 months, and they come back. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, now it's 6. And they go, oh.
Yeah, 5's looking pretty good right now. Like, who would think we'd be saying that? But 5, I mean, that sounds wonderful.
For real. No, because even me, I'm looking at buying a place, and I've got a special program I'm gonna have to use because of the way that my finances are. And several months ago, my lender that I was talking with at the time was like, yeah, 7%. And I'm like, oh, there's no way. That's insane. And now we just reached that today for everybody. So
yeah. And the Fed is being very hawkish on inflation and jobs. So they're just like, they've got a sledgehammer. They're using a sledgehammer to fight this instead of just maybe like a chisel and a smaller hammer, because as Jerome Powell, the chairman, has said, people need to feel pain. The American public is going to feel pain. That's literally what he said.
But that's not what we want, man. So you have programs, though.
They're trying to push us into a recession,
right?
Basically. So something's got to give. I mean,
but help us out here, because there are programs for these first-time buyers and other folks, right? So it's not all doom and gloom and hammers.
No. There's still people buying. Here in our office, there's still a lot of applications coming in, a lot of people getting approved, because there are first-time home buyer programs, Home Ready, Home Possible. If you're a first-time home buyer with a conventional loan, you can even do as little as 3% down. If you're a veteran, you can do a VA loan, 0% down, no mortgage insurance. Like, what's not to like about that? And then you've got USDA. So if you want to buy in somewhere like Fillmore, Santa Paula, Ojai, Oakview, you can do a USDA loan with 0 down as well. And you can get down payment assistance is another way you can do that. Help with closing costs. There's so many things that you can access to help you as a first-time home buyer.
For sure. And then in terms of like rent versus buy, right? Because even with these interest rates, the prices are going up.
Yes.
2-bedroom apartments are pushing $3,000.
Rent is, so interest rates are going up, but so is rent.
Right.
And 7%, to be in a home, to be building equity, to be able to write off your interest, write off your closing cost. You can write off your property taxes. You can write off all of that. Meanwhile, rent, what's the interest rate on rent?
100%.
100%. So, and you're not building anything. You're not building any equity. And home values appreciate at an average of 3% per year. That's a 75-year average or 50-year average.
Right.
Even though the last couple of years we saw like 15%, 20%, like 10 years worth of growth in 2 years. So home ownership still makes a lot of sense if you can afford the monthly payments.
Absolutely.
If you can, I'd say get in a home. You can always refinance later.
But for the most part, if you're renting, you can afford to buy, because with the tax benefits and things, you're pretty, unless you started renting 20 years ago and you're paying $500, I've come across people like that before.
Some people are like grandfathered in to their rent because they are grandfathers, but
right.
But yeah, rent is, are you throwing your money away? Maybe you're just not ready to buy yet. Not everyone should buy. Like if you're not comfortable with that payment, you have to tack on maintenance costs. There's more costs associated with homeownership than just that monthly payment.
Right.
Of your principal, interest, and taxes and insurance and all that. So you've got to be careful.
Right.
If you can afford it and you're comfortable with those payments plus a little extra, buy a house.
That's kind of where I'm having a hard time right now, even, because the number one thing that everyone cares about here is price. And just so that you guys know, prices kind of went down. We had
what's up with local prices, Ventura County prices?
Yeah, April was our peak. We came down a good chunk in April. We came down another chunk, not last month, but month before. I think we're down a sum total of like $80,000 since April. I think we had like almost 900,000 as our median. Now we're down to about 800,000.
Right.
But when you combine that with the rates going up, what worries me is that the payment hasn't gone down.
Sure.
So, if you're a cash buyer, it's a cool deal, right? Prices come down a little bit, but let's be honest, almost everyone takes out the loan. So it feels to me like a lot of people are like waiting for the crash. Meanwhile, prices are skyrocketing. And then if anything does happen where the prices go down, well, their payment is still skyrocketing. So they're not making any, headway.
Right. Right.
So, what I'm telling everyone right now is like, now is the time. Crash aside, your payment is up 40%. Whether there will or will not be a crash, who knows?
Right.
What we do know is that your month-to-month payment is up, 40%, which is crazy.
Yes. Monthly payments are up 40%. So let's be real. That's not helping anyone.
No.
But as I said, if you can afford to buy, it's still a smart financial move. If you're looking to buy for investment purposes, maybe now is not the best time, but like if you need a home, you want to put a roof over your family's head, you want to start a family, buying and creating that generational wealth is still, like real estate is still that vehicle.
Right. At some point, maybe not yet, but at some point those interest rates are going to get high enough where you will be able to refinance it down. Right? Maybe not right away, but we're historically around 5, give or take,
They should come down once jobs, the employment market slows down, once inflation is under control.
Years from now, not right now, but years from now. But there is that chance years from now,
Yeah, it's not going to happen soon. I think rates will go up again before they go down. Right. Because we've got a Fed meeting beginning of November, and they've already said that they're going to raise rates by 75 basis points. And that's the Fed rate.
Again?
That's the Fed rate. No. So it doesn't directly affect mortgage rates, but also it does. It's hard to explain. I won't get into it, but
it doesn't. It doesn't copy it, but it does rhyme.
It does rhyme. Yes. And mortgage brokers, lenders, they already kind of factor in that increase, the Fed rate increase, into their rates. So it's already kind of like baked in, so to speak. So
on my side, when I'm talking to folks, it's like no better time than the present, because it doesn't seem to, like, prices are coming down but doesn't seem to be helping. Sounds like interest rates aren't coming down either anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. So do you want to get a house at 7.25%, or do you want to get a house at 8%?
Right.
That could happen. But something's got to give, because affordability is a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
People have said to me, hey, well, rates were 12% in the 80s. That's true, but how much was a house in the 80s? Maybe it was $100,000 or $150,000 in this area, something like that.
Give or take, yeah.
So now it's $900K and you have 7% interest rate.
Right.
Something has to give.
But most people out here, in my experience at least, like, we're not seeing someone's like a first-time buyer with no help buying $1 million house. We're just not seeing that. Even in the condos, for $500, give or take.
Sure.
Sometimes we'll get some folks that are buying first time, but they usually have some help from somewhere.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing like a really basic transaction out here. Most of them are selling something and upgrading in some capacity. So our market's a little bit, I think, more different. I don't know if it's maybe more bulletproof or less bulletproof because of that. I'd like to think more bulletproof.
Well, hey, coastal California, mm-hmm. People want to live here. Owning real estate here is always going to be a good idea, in my opinion.
Well, right. Plus we're California with your property tax not increasing, especially where I'm at in Newbury Park, Thousand Oaks. I want to say something like maybe 60% of all the people that live there bought it when they were like my age and then like never moved. So,
how old is this guy anyways? Like, I have no idea.
Mystery.
He's at that age where it's like 20s, 30s. So I'm not sure.
Almost 33.
It might remain.
Okay.
So there we go.
So we have a lot of people, even like my parents, that bought for $250,000 and they've now lived there for, 33 years now, right? So like a huge portion of the market is just not ever moving. We're really only dealing with that small portion that is actually selling every year.
Right. Right. Well, I guess what you were saying earlier, just to touch on that, like, people are buying and maybe they have gift funds.
Right.
Maybe they have gift funds from their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Their parents have sold their house that they bought for $200K when you were not even born. You were just like a little,
absolutely,
little mini swimmer, and their parents have got that equity. Their parents have got some cash to help them out.
Right.
With the down payment to buy down the rate, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that too. I'm seeing a lot of people that are either buying condos for their kids. Sometimes they're even moving in with them because they're coming from out of area. They're just getting something and all moving in together. I'm seeing that a lot. I actually just helped some folks sell in Thousand Oaks and move to Dos Vientos. They got a really big house because they wanted to just all communally live in the same home. Parents were getting older, that kind of thing. So our market, my point's just that like our market's different. We're not looking at, like when I was in rural Washington and we had like first-time buyers and it was really more of a one-on-one deal. Out here, it's, I would argue, more stable than out in those other areas because people are pooling their resources together.
I can see that, yeah.
So, we'll see what happens, but like right now in terms of prices, I think we're stable. We're falling slowly, but I don't think there's going to be, a 40% plus reduction like we would need to make some progress.
Sure. And then, we haven't even touched on inventory, which is a whole nother episode maybe of this.
It would be. Because inventory is both up and down, right? Like inventory is way lower than it was last year, but like that's gonna be the hardest thing to kind of make sense of all the numbers, right? Because we were in this crazy boom before the pandemic that was unprecedented.
Right.
And then we hit the pandemic and then it boomed more. So, when we're looking at what is normal, like what is good inventory, what's not normal,
sure.
Is it pandemic levels? Is it pre-pandemic levels? Is it pre-pandemic levels? So, right now though, what it comes down to is just we're selling all the houses. They're setting a little longer, but they're still selling. So,
and it's normalizing.
Right.
Let's say that.
Yeah. Well, kind of. And we're still looking at 2 months, 1 month-ish to sell a home, sometimes less than that.
Yeah.
So, like, a healthy market's like 2 to 4. So we still have too many buyers and not enough sellers, right, even though we're slowing down.
Yeah. There's someone I follow called Logan Modishemi. Okay. He's like the lead analyst of Housing Wire. Mm-hmm. And he has called this a savagely unhealthy housing market. That's like his tagline. And now he's like, the 6 red flags of recession are up. Or this is, we're in a recession, and
and we're full steam ahead.
And just keep going.
Yep.
I mean, people will still need to buy homes, and we have to just keep moving forward.
I mean, like I said, our market's weird, right? I mean, I want to say more homes are sold by, probate than almost anything else. Our market isn't normal. It's not something you can copy and paste from, an area where there's $250,000 homes,
right.
Normal, healthy stuff. We're weird, so...
We're weird. We're Californians, so weird is what we do.
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of why this is so important, because, we're talking about what's going on here because it's like nowhere else, at least in my mind. Maybe you get something like that in New York, or maybe Seattle, but
that's why we want to live here, because
for sure.
What's not to like about coastal California and the Central Coast?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think we've covered a lot.
Definitely.
I mean, there's always more to talk about, but
for next month and for our own market updates and everything. So if you guys do want more, check out his market update, my market update. There'll be links down below for all of that, and go in more details that we do every month. When do you upload yours?
Once a week I do a rate update.
Perfect.
Which is like, it's definitely a rate roller coaster as well.
Roller coaster going up though.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We're hearing that click, 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 click.
Right.
It just keeps going. So.
Right. So anyways, guys, if you want more details, links down below, and we will see you next time.
All right. See you next time.